should be played at high volume. This should be played at high volume. This should be played at high volume. Preferably in a residential area.
The following thoughts on Hoppe Hour do not represent Cox Media Group or its sponsoring. Anything you hear may and will be used against you. Thank you. Voted as best local podcast in Tampa Bay by the Creative Loafing. You're listening to Hoppe Hour.
What up? What is happening? This is Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, and I'm very pumped to bring back a friend of the show and I guess you could say the sports analyst for Hoppe Hour. Tampa Bay sports anchor Chris Fischer from WTSP TV is live. What's up, man?
What's going on, dude? Next time we do this, though, for Hoppe Hour, I want to bring in some double IPA beers and really get the hops flowing.
Oh, hell yeah,
Talk
dude.
Sports, going to do it right.
Well, we couldn't do that in here because it's a professional building.
Let's take the show on the road.
We should do something, though, because I have a portable mic on my phone. We should do something where we take Hoppe Hour to an actual bar during happy hour.
I like it. Sounds good.
How has everything been at work, man? Because we were talking off air, but I didn't want you to say too much because I want to save it for air. But it seems like you're doing a lot at once, dude.
We've got the busiest time of year in our book here in Tampa Bay when you talk about right now you have the Valspar Championship with the PGA Tour. NFL free agency has begun, and the Bucks have signed 2 players in the last 2 days, bringing back Doug Martin, which was very big for them. Their star running back. What's that?
Was that very important for them to bring him back?
A 2-time Pro Bowl running back for them. He was second in the league last year in rushing yards. So that was a very big signing for them and keeping continuity with their offense. And then you have spring training beginning, and we've got so many different spring training teams here, whether it's the Rays down in Port Charlotte or the Yankees in Tampa Bay, the Phillies in Clearwater. A lot of baseball being played in this area, and
How do you
Lightning.
Keep track of everything? Because a lot of these players for all these baseball teams don't make the team or they don't matter. So do you write it down in a journal? How do you keep everything together?
In my head. And I know that
You're
sounds
a genius,
crazy.
dude.
No, I'm not. I'm far from it. But as a kid who could memorize baseball cards and things of that nature. Now, I gave up the baseball card game, but I find it funny. There's still guys that definitely keep it going right now, even at our age, that are still doing the baseball card thing. And God bless them. I mean, you know.
Those are dudes who are trying to overcompensate and don't want to grow up.
I about to say that's just they still have a little bit of little boy left in them, and they don't want to give that away.
It's sort of the same dudes who like religiously watch Monday Night Raw and need to DVR every second.
Dude, you are stepping into a whole realm of hate there. You don't even want to screw with the WWE folks. My girlfriend watches Monday Night Raw. I have a hard time wrestling the TV away from her. So I'm like,
yes, wrestling fans are so defensive. They will tackle you and kill you while playing Insane Clown Posse.
It's nuts, man. I was out at Daytona a couple weeks ago for the 500, and John Cena's there as the Grand Marshal, and I'm sending pictures out. And you think things blow up on Twitter regarding maybe like baseball, football? No, John Cena photos blow up.
This seems like a wrestling area.
Oh well, WWE is stemmed deeply into Tampa Bay. I mean, most of their training schools are here. John Cena,
Hulk Hogan,
of course. Jimmy Hart, the manager, the Mouth of the South.
I've met him before. He's a funny guy.
He's a great guy.
He wears a Jimmy Hart shirt everywhere he goes. I love it.
I forget the name of the band, but he's got a #1 hit. Like an actual #1 hit when he was in a band. So that's what led to him being in the WWE. So many crazy stories, so many of WWE celebrities in this area.
Did you get to talk to John Cena?
We did in press conference format, but it was he wasn't giving away if he's going to wrestle in WrestleMania coming up because he had surgery just a couple months ago. But seems like a real good dude. And honestly, he seems like the best type of spokesperson because he's so well spoken when it comes to pushing a product that it was pretty incredible to sit there and witness.
Once again, what I'm about to say will piss off wrestling fans, but a lot of them seem like fake characters and a lot of them seem like morons. But John Cena carries himself real well. Like, he's a decent actor for being John Cena. I'm a John Cena fan. Like, he was funny in Trainwreck.
I have a hard time not liking the guy. I mean, just for what he stands for, what his fan base is, and the way that he conducts himself. I mean, maybe there's something different in some of these celebrity reality shows, but I don't watch those, so I couldn't tell you.
Well, yeah, because you have a life and you're into things that are more normal, like sports.
Although when I come home, Vanderpump Rules is on, and that drives me up the damn
How
wall.
awful is that? I've never heard of it, but it sounds horrendous.
Dude, it's
What
terrible.
is it?
It's terrible. It's as if I can recall this, it's a bunch of celebrities, prisses out in. No, let me rewind that a little bit. It's somebody who owns a restaurant, a very well-to-do lady that owns a restaurant out in the Beverly Hills area, and they follow the servers and the bartenders and things of that nature, and they're just prisses and snobs
How do
as
women
well.
get into this? I know women say the same thing about us watching wrestling or sports or cartoons, but they're in this like fantasy world where they want to be the women, and it's not normal.
I would have to agree, but then again, you work at a radio station, so you see how people act at a radio station, and they kind of think they're celebrities. So it's kind
Same
of the
with
way
TV.
it goes.
TV can
Hey,
get, wow.
you know, there's people like that. I'm not one of them. I'm from here. I'm like Common Joe, and anytime I get an opportunity, whether it's your show or to do Sideline with CBS, I think it's just a privilege. So I enjoy it.
Would you say that Tampa Bay is a legit market for media hosts? Because it's a big city, but it's also got kind of a small town vibe. Like, I feel like everyone knows someone.
Yeah, it's very small town like. I mean, when I lived in Orlando, it was kind of the same way when I was getting my start in the industry, but I feel like Tampa Bay is, they say it's market 11, but it feels more like a market 80, like when I was back in South Carolina, because everybody knows everything. And it's such a small, tight-knit community that, yeah, we have 3 major sports teams, but everybody's from some other area,
The
so it's
bridges
not the
do it,
biggest thing.
too. It's too separated.
Oh, the bridges kill it.
And the other thing is, too, right now we're recording this at the Cox Media Building after hours. This is home to The Bone, HOW 101.5, Mix 94.9, 97X, The Eagle, and WTSP is down the block. We're on
Right.
4th. In, like, let's say New York City, when I said it on Opie Radio, they're in Times Square. None of the media places, if it's TV or radio, are in downtown Tampa. So I think that kind of takes away the big city vibe. It makes it more laid back, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Because when I worked in Orlando, it was the same thing. My station, I worked at an ABC affiliate at the time, was located right downtown. So it gave it that feel a little bit more, even though it's just Orlando, whereas the Fox station is way the hell out in Lake Mary, and that's away from everything. So you always wonder, it's like, how are these guys going to cover anything? Because they're not near anything. So
Where is Lake Mary? I don't even know where that is.
it is about 15 minutes outside Orlando, like on the way to Daytona on I-4. So it's
Sounds boring.
snooze. Snooze.
How similar and how different are Orlando and Tampa? I feel like Tampa is Orlando on roids. You know what I mean?
No, I think it's actually the adverse. Orlando seems like a up-and-coming area, while Tampa says it's an up-and-coming area, you know. Tampa's kind of an old area. It's just growing up here. It's all retiree-based.
But isn't it kind of getting more hip? Like, you keep reading these things where they say it's up and
but-
coming.
Okay, so...
Are you jaded?
Oh, yeah, because they're just... Tampa wants to sell itself so much. Hey, we're up and coming. You know, we're the fastest growing. Yeah, but Orlando was there 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you know? I mean, look at the downtown infrastructure in Orlando that's doubled in size. The one thing that I would live there in 2 seconds if it had a beach, but I love
That's
where
the
I'm-
one thing I think
Yep.
about is it doesn't have water.
Yeah, that kills it. And, you know, it's Orlando. People have to look past Disney because that's not where it is. Disney's in Lake Buena Vista, so it's you know, on the west side of it. Orlando's more east.
And Orlando's expensive, I've heard, because of the whole Disney tax and tourist tax.
Well, when you get to International Drive and all that, yeah, it can be. But, I mean, you know, we have the bed tax here on the beaches, so it's kind of the same principle.
I'm happy being in Tampa, though, because it's a good opportunity because I've been sort of content where I've been happy with my job. But then when I went to New York City, I was talking to you about this. Isn't it intimidating how nobody is ever sleeping? Like, it's overwhelming, dude.
For somebody who barely gets any sleep, I enjoy it. I love the synergy, whether you're getting on the subway or whether you're walking through the park. I mean, you got to wonder how some of those people sleep considering all the noise and the hubbub going on all the time. But, hell, I went there on a Sunday night after doing an NFL game on CBS, and I took the train up from Baltimore, got to New York. I was starving, hadn't had dinner, went to look for a place to eat. I had a hard time finding one. My hotel was right around Times Square, and I thought
Which
of
one?
anywhere. The Row.
I was at the Row too.
Yeah?
I couldn't find anything to eat. I went to that one Irish bar, forget the name of it, Playwright.
Okay. I know right where it is.
I got food. And then I went and got pizza twice and got B-dubs. Like, the Row is actually pretty nice.
It's not bad.
There were those reviews online of these disgruntled people. Oh, it sucks. The Row was pretty cool.
No, I thought it was great.
I liked the bar, too.
Yeah, the bar was great. Everybody seemed cool there, so I didn't have any problem. I was there for 3 days, so I didn't have a problem.
I was there for 3 days, too. That's weird. I like the Row, too, because New York City is such a big city that it gives you a view of a skyline, sort of. It gives you something. It's not just like you're seeing water.
A building right over
Like, you see some things. That's pretty cool, man.
You're not staying, you're not right on the park, but then again, that's so goddamn, excuse my language, so expensive.
Oh, I say worser things, so you're fine.
But it's so expensive. I'm a Christian, folks, so please don't mail it in.
You do seem like a guy that'd be religious. You're very
No, I'm
humble
actually,
and nice.
I'm a Creaster. I go to Christmas and Easter service, but that's kind of the way it goes. I pray every night.
I haven't gone in 4 years. I'm going to burn in hell.
And no, I wouldn't go that far. Although somebody did suggest to me this week, is Jameis Winston for the Bucs went out and got baptized with his girlfriend.
Oh, that's not a PR move or anything.
I don't know, but so somebody wrote me on Facebook this week and said, make sure the water doesn't catch on fire. And I'm like, dude, that's a low blow. Give the guy a chance now that he's here. We haven't heard of any problems. So,
I think he grew up because he knows what he has now.
Right. And that's the case. I mean, he was 21 years old when he got here. So, and he's still 21, 22. So he's still growing and maturing, and that comes along with it.
How big can he get? How good is he going to be?
That's so hard to say. He's not Cam Newton, so everybody's got to wipe that from their memory, from their mind, because
Cam's just more fast.
Cam's got speed. Cam is bigger, more agile, more of an athlete than Jameis is, but Jameis throws a good ball. I mean, I think Jameis has the capability to be a very Hall of Fame-esque quarterback.
He kind of reminds me of Ben Roethlisberger a little bit. The way he runs awkwardly.
And that's what a lot of people suggest. And what's wrong with Ben Roethlisberger?
Nothing.
He's won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
So if he ever did that here in Tampa, one day he'd be in the Ring of Honor. So, I mean, Jameis does have that kind of upside.
Now, I want to ask you this, going back to Cam Newton. What did you think of this post that he put on Twitter and Facebook? It was on Facebook where he wrote this long paragraph talking about how great Peyton Manning was, but whenever there was H, G, and H in a word, he would capitalize that. And I just thought that showed how much of an adolescent and how much of a little punk he is. And I'm a Cam Newton fan where I like watching him play, but I thought that was a low bro move.
I'm not really a Cam Newton guy. I think he does everything out of...
It's like a spectacle.
Well, not only just a spectacle, but it's a case of it perpetuates himself and his brand and what he's about, but in his insides and his gut. What he did in the postgame for the Super Bowl was ridiculous.
Do you think that's
that
because
kind of
you're
tweet
in the media? Because I thought, even though you're supposed
because I'm
to
a Florida Gator, and I know what he did to that program when he stole a laptop and went away. So it has a little bit of tie-in to do with that.
We all seem to forget about that.
Yeah, no, I'm like an elephant when it comes to that. But it's just, I guarantee he does bring excitement to the game, but I also firmly believe that a lot of it is out of self-interest and not so much team, whether it's the dab or anything like that.
The dab died when Matt Lauer did it.
Oh, God bless. It just got to be too much.
The dab
old white
officially
guys,
died when Hillary Clinton's doing a dab. That's when I'm like, all right, we're
no
done.
Offense. Like, there's just some things white people shouldn't touch, and that was one of them.
It was
it's
so
just like,
embarrassing.
stay away. Or I should say this: white people over the age of 40, just stay away.
Over the age of 30, don't
yeah,
do it.
I'll go there too. It's just that's a younger generation's thing.
Now, I know you're in the media, so you probably have to be all positive and happy-go-lucky, but I'm glad Peyton Manning's gone. I am so sick of seeing his face, sick of his commercials, even though they're going to be around. I'm glad he's gone. I've had enough. It's been overexposure since social media came around. What do you think of Peyton Manning?
I think he revolutionized the game. With his play calling at the line, the way that he studied, but at the same token, I'm glad he's gone.
It's enough. Bye. See ya.
There goes the Florida Gator in me. I mean, the only team he never beat was the Florida Gators. Okay, 0-4.
Wow, you're a really big Florida Gator fan.
But at the same time, he went to Tennessee, so that was already a strike against him. But he was an incredible quarterback. Do I put him in my top 5 of all time? I don't. It's just I think he's there, but I don't. He revolutionized the game because of the play calling at the line, the way that he was able to study and be the coach on the field, and he was definitely a field general. But
I'm just kind of mad that we're actually debating him being an all-time great. I feel like a lot of people forget how good guys like Joe Montana were.
Right.
He threw 50,000 yards.
But for your generation, I think that's the case. I think anytime, Joe Montana is out of the scope of that. And when you look at history and you go back and you check the numbers, they're not what they're putting up today because the game has changed.
Because the defense was actually allowed back then.
Right, exactly. There's one. They throw the ball a lot more. Now they throw the ball to run the ball. It's not normally it used to be you run the ball to set up the pass, but it's completely the other way around now. So passing yards are inflated, receptions are inflated. The stat game has changed so much in the NFL, and it's because of the passing attack in the NFL and the accuracy of quarterbacks and how the defenses, like you said, aren't able to really put their hands on players anymore.
Now, I had DJ Who Kid on the show on Sunday from SiriusXM, the hip-hop DJ, and he was the main person with the rapper Waka Flocka, and then, of course, Rob Gronkowski on their cruise, the Gronk cruise. Did you see any of the footage?
I did. I would have loved to have been there to see that.
Not even just to get girls. I just want to give material for my show. Like, that's how much of a radio geek I am. Plus, I have a girlfriend. But the point is, man, that looked insane. But also, I feel like there's more dudes there than women.
Oh, I could believe that. I mean, how many of those guys have man crushes on Gronk? And, dude, don't you feel like he had to be secluded in a room or have his own level to be able to keep the guys away for a while? I mean, there's so much meatheadness going on there. I don't even know if that's an adjective, but that's
a video
close.
Where they were interviewing people there. And now I'll say, I know you're in TV, so you have to keep it clean, but it seemed like a lot of these dudes wanted to have relations with Rob Gronkowski. Like, it wasn't healthy how they were saying they would do things with him and a girl. I was like, what? I was like, I get it's okay to be a fan of an athlete, but some of these dudes were getting weird.
It's just crossing the line.
I was like,
just crossing the line.
That's not normal when you're that into an athlete, man.
No, and unfortunately, it's crazy you say that because that's kind of the people that keep me employed are the crazy sports fans that I enjoy because I'll get phone calls from them almost every day.
What do they say?
What do they think? What do you think is going to happen with the Buccaneers this year? Can you tell me who won WWE? Why don't you do WWE highlights on the TV? I get a lot of those.
Are you supposed to respond to them? Do you call them back?
I answer them. I'll look it up. That's the great thing about the internet. I mean, oh yeah, Triple H won. Triple H, he hasn't wrestled in 20 years.
Andre the Giant won.
So it's always fun. You never know who you're going to get phone calls from, and then when that phone call comes in after the 11 o'clock show, you got to wonder if you said something wrong or ticked somebody off.
How nervous do you get sometimes if you ever get a call from a certain number of a boss or something?
Oh yeah, you definitely hate that. Oh crap, what did I do?
Then you actually get complimented, and you're like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, that does happen too. But as you probably know in the media industry, compliments don't come from the bosses as much as they do the person who's watching or listening in at that time.
And it's like the boss sort of matters more than the people watching or listening.
Unfortunately, yeah, that is the case, even though the numbers are what drives our job. So it's kind of ironic how that all works.
Yeah, I'm just kind of noticing that you have to have your own back and you have to do your thing. You know what I mean? It's cool to have a team around you. I love how the Bones embrace me, and I love working here. But at the same time, if you want to make it, you have to have your own brand,
Yeah, and I mean, that's what it comes down to. But unfortunately, in my industry, the way that things are going nowadays, because...
Where is it going?
It's more of a, white sports guys are a dime a dozen. So you have to be able to be very good at your job, have good contacts, very good contacts, or just have a tie-in, have somebody that you know help you out, because it is a lot about who you know and who you rub elbows with in this industry that advances your career, as I'm sure you can speak to.
And now, if you don't want to say anything about it, that's fine. But I thought every cent that Erin Andrews got was warranted. I hate the people that go, oh, but she's famous. Everybody saw the video. You know how embarrassing that is?
Yeah, it's incredible.
I couldn't believe the sexism and the macho-ness of these imbeciles hiding behind the keyboard saying it's not worth $55 million. These morons don't get that she's not going to get all of it. The lawyer's going to get it. The team's going to get it. Everybody has seen the video or knows somebody that has. You know how embarrassing that is? Whenever she's on TV, people think of her. So I'm actually really happy for her. And I find it sickening that people were mad that she got money, you know?
I kind of put it in my perspective. I can only imagine, and I'm not a beautiful, blonde, well-to-do, famous sideline reporter. I mean, you want to talk about moving the needle in ratings? She was studied as one of the only people on television to actually have viewers move the needle and generate more viewership, just simply based because she's on. Now, I've stayed at hotels covering events, and if somebody wanted to stay close to me, because their names are put out there when you go on the road, because generally it's an ESPN or a CBS or an NBC or an ABC booking that person's hotel room, so their name was available, unfortunately.
Why isn't it not under an
Well,
alias?
I think that has changed now. But at that time, that was the case. So therefore, when that name is put out there and this guy wants to stay close to her, well, Marriott, by obliging, she absolutely, for her safety alone, deserved that kind of compensation.
I just find it sickening that people were actually debating how embarrassing this is.
It's horrendous. And
I love the guy, too, trying to pull out the sympathy card. It's like, oh, get the hell out of here, dude.
It's
like, you're a scumbag. It's like, and I hate the comeback of, well, if she wasn't famous, it wouldn't have happened. What does that matter? You know what I mean? It's just.
No, there should be nothing to do with that, with her job or what she does for her career, because whether it was somebody in a hotel room or your next door neighbor, Joe Blow or Jane Blow, whoever cares, that kind of activity is just, unneeded.
Now, have you ever done a report or something? Now, obviously, you're not an attractive blonde, so you're not going to be hit on at the bar, I'm sure.
Right.
But have you ever had something, though, where you've kind of felt weird with your life because of, like, let's say an obsessed viewer on TV?
Obsessed?
Or just something that happened with a weird viewer?
I had a crazy guy in Myrtle Beach when I worked there who would call all the time, and then all of a sudden he would show up in the parking lot, but I don't know. That's about it.
No, but that's not good. I mean, you made it when that happens, and Myrtle Beach is such a small market that it probably was easy to find you.
Yeah, it's not difficult. I mean, it's not like we didn't have chain fences around the building or anything like that.
Because a lot of small towns, even like in Indianapolis or Tampa Bay, you can just drive by and see WTSP, Cox Media.
Yeah.
So they just wait for us, and we're not like Howard where we have a limo driver. We walk to our cars. Anything can happen at any moment,
I hear you, man. That's, boy, wouldn't that be nice? A limo driver, huh?
Oh, I know. I've been listening to Howard lately, man. I want to make it where I have a limo driver. You know what I mean?
I was on Howard Stern one time, and he kind of goofed it up. It was hilarious.
When?
Back in, I forget the draft. First time I ever covered the NFL draft, I was by myself. Boss goes, "You're going to the NFL draft." I'm like, okay. Our local guy was being drafted in the first round by the Miami Dolphins. Ended up being with the Miami Dolphins.
Was he good?
Yeah, Jared Odrick. He plays for the Jaguars now.
Nice.
And so I go, and I'm standing on a box because I'm not the tallest guy in the world.
Oh, really?
But there's a lot of people standing on boxes. So we're right in front of Radio City Music Hall, and the cabs are whizzing by, and I've got CBS to my left, and I've got Comcast Sportsnet to my right, and ESPN to my right. So here's Radio City Music Hall right behind me for the backdrop. Tonight, the NFL draft is happening, and da-da-da-da-da. And in the background, you hear, Baba Booey, Howard Stern's, can't say the word, but on the air. So there's YouTube clips of it out there. So my producer, who's a huge Stern fan, calls up Stern and sends in the clip of the guy baba-booing me in the background.
Oh, my God.
So
Are
when
you
I get
serious?
back, I worked at the station maybe two months. I was going to beat the you-know-what out of this guy. I was so ticked. Now, today, I just sit back and I laugh about it, and we have a good laugh because we're still really good friends about the situation. But that day, I jumped off the box, and I went through the whole report, got through it, and that's all you heard in the background. Howard was right. All you heard in the background was Howard Stern's you-know-what. And so I wanted to
That's
jump
awesome,
off
dude.
and tackle that dude.
You could put that on a resume.
I wouldn't go that far.
No, I would, dude. That's pretty legit, man.
But every NFL draft, if you listen to XM or Sirius, you'll hear it. You'll hear the clip of me doing.
Oh, they
at the
play
NFL
it that
draft.
often?
Yeah, it's part of his greatest hits.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. That's something you should hang your hat on. Not that you get to meet athletes all the time and cover things, that you are a sound clip on Howard show.
Yeah, it's pretty. They'll call me from time to time. Dude, I was in the car today. I totally heard you on the air. They're like right after the whole penis part. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right.
Man, you are such a good person. You're like holding back on like saying the word penis. Like you were nervous to say goddamn, and I'm over here ranting.
Well,
I respect it. You know what I mean?
Dude, I don't use a lot of 4-letter words, but when I do, I use them in bunches. So once it starts,
Are
it
you
won't
the
stop.
guy, like, when you get mad or once you're having a good time, if you know what I mean? Like, that's when the 4-letter words come out?
No, because I honestly, as most people will tell you, a lot of people will tell you in the news industry, their favorite word they never use on the air is the F word. And so it happens.
Is it because you have to hold back and you can't say it?
Oh, yeah,
and then
you have to sit there and recall in your mind what you're going to say before you say it on the air.
It's sort of like how once you're able to say it, I feel like that's when it kind of loses its charm. Like, Howard doesn't really say it that often because it's like...
It loses emphasis.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. Like, a word I use way too much is absolutely. I don't know why, but I use that on the air, but that's kind of...
Absolutely.
I don't even like that word. I just say it.
Did you ever have a thing where when you couldn't get to a point or your mind was racing, you would use the word like? Because I was talking to a very prominent radio producer in this business, and he told me one of my interviews was good, but every word was like. And how do you get rid of that trend?
But a lot, and that's, I think...
Kind of like it, you know?
That's what in my writing, but the problem I have... See, I just use it again. The way I write is I set something up and I come back with a counter. So it's like, Jameis Winston had a great day, but he threw 15 incompletions. So it's kind of you have to work it out. I don't know. It's
like
tough.
is sort of like a blonde at the beach. Oh my God, like, because I don't want to be like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. It's
Does it come with practice?
Yeah, I think so.
I actually went on Google and looked up how to quit saying like, because it really got to my head. Because then I'm listening and everything I hear is me saying like, and it drove me insane, dude.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
That's nuts. I do the same, but that's with the word but. I do it all the time.
Do you ever have any access to your old work in Myrtle Beach or when you're in Fargo?
In fact, I just got a picture today. I haven't seen it in 8 years. It's ironic you say this. It was my first on-air job, and we're all sitting at the anchor desk, and it was in Rapid City, South Dakota.
That's what it was, not Fargo.
Yeah, and so I'm just like, holy crap. And I'm like, has the hair really changed? I couldn't tell. Like, obviously the suit's too big. You know, I'm trying to pull off this perfect tie, and that wasn't working out. But, yeah, I mean, we've all come a long way, I guess.
Did you ever try to, like, overcompensate where you were trying to be like some anchor? Because I was listening back, oh my God, was I trying to be a shock jock like 2 years ago, and now I just talk. Were you ever trying to be somebody, or have you always been yourself?
Yes, I tried, and you may have heard of them. One time I did this story in South Carolina on 3 brothers playing in a single football game, but mom couldn't make it because she was in trouble health-wise. And so I tried doing the whole Tom Rinaldi, ESPN, slow down the voice and let it come to you.
Oh my God, why?
Roll. It was so terrible. It was so, like, beyond the great story I completely ruined just because he was on ESPN, and that's why. So, no.
You sort of sound like George Takei when you're doing that, too. Oh, my.
Nice. Yeah,
It's
you
funny
try
how
different
you
things.
come a far way when you just keep doing it. You know what I mean?
You got to be you, and that's what they always say, man. You got to be you, or you're going to screw yourself. Now, it's nice to have outside influences and other people,
But you got to kind of turn that off.
you got to turn it off. You got to take what you like about them, but don't try to be them. If you try to emulate somebody, you're not going to get anywhere. It's too much of the other thing.
Now, before I let you go, where do you see the Rays going this year? Because I know nothing about the Rays or baseball.
Okay.
So inform me and other people that want to know, how's this team going to go down this year?
The question is, do they go down this year? I think this is a team that could be on the rise. Coming off last season where they're 84-80, so they finished 4th in the American League East, ahead of the Boston Red Sox.
Above 500?
Did I say 80 and 84? Excuse me. They're 80 and 84.
Then they're under 500.
Yes. But this is a team that's definitely on the rise. They went out and made a lot of nice moves, acquiring Logan Morrison, who will eventually play first, whether they can move James Loney or not. Logan Forsythe's going to be at second. Brad Miller's a big question. They acquired him in the Nate Carnes trade with the Mariners. Now, he's already got 3 errors this spring, so whether he can field or not is going to be a big question. Evan Longoria has to have a better year because they pay him to be an all-star, and he hasn't been an all-star in years. And then the starting pitching staff looks great. Now, so far, a couple of bumps in the road, but that's to be expected in spring training. And then I really like the depth in their outfield. But the question is, with all the other teams spending the money, making the trades within the division, can the Rays match? And I think across the board, talent for talent, pound for pound, they can.
And now, before I let you go, what are some things you have coming up on your next report?
Tomorrow, I'm doing a story on Ryan Hunter-Ray, former IndyCar champion
I
at
think I've heard that name.
Indianapolis
Yeah.
500. He's running in the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, the Firestone Grand Prix, to open the season for IndyCar Series. And he has the number 28 on his car, and that goes to the 28 million Americans who every day live with cancer. That's an estimate, obviously.
That's awesome.
But he lost his mother to colon cancer. So that will run tomorrow evening on 10 Sports at 11 on WTSP. And then Saturday, Sunday, we've got conference championship basketball. And
I love how your voice has changed for that.
That's right. We'll have head coach Orlando Antigua of the USF Bulls in studio to break down the brackets for the NCAA tournament.
Maybe I see why you're trying to do the voices, because you went from talking about something and then you're like, and then we have college basketball.
It's big time, man. Buzzer beaters, March Madness, big dance. It's good stuff.
How's life been? I mean, just besides
In general?
sports, yeah, just great.
I think I'm going to have to put a ring on it next week, but other than that, I'm doing well.
Oh, wow, is that a hint?
Well, unless she listens, which I think she will, she flies to England next week, and there's some high expectations for her to have a ring on the finger.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah,
What's
that's
the
a major
pressure
step.
like?
Oh, dude, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Are you going to do
I've done media reports, like live media reports that aren't this pressure packed. So,
Are you going to do your like annoying sports anchor voice?
No, I won't do that. Will you please marry me? No, that won't work.
I can see you doing it, though, or doing that hacky thing you did in Fargo with that ESPN voice.
I could slow it down and just, will you please? No, I don't think that's going to work out because she's from London, so you better shut the hell up, honestly.
When she has that voice,
Oh, yes. The accent's
I'm
incredible.
not trying to say your girl's sexy, but I love women with that type of voice.
She's
too.
in here all the time.
Really?
Yeah, she's a rep for Warner Brothers Records.
Oh, my God, is that the best? You have it set. Your girl has a British accent? That is awesome, dude. I love girls with British accents. Well, dude, keep up the good work. I'm glad everything's going well for you. And since you're the sports analyst for Hoppe Hour, I'll definitely have you back probably in a month to see everything going on with the Rays.
I like it.
In their first week.
We might have to take it on the road and get this Hoppe Hour going with a couple of beers.
Where do you think we should go? Where should we do this?
You know what? Let's, as my girlfriend would say, stay away from Hooters. So we shouldn't do Hooters.
So go to Wing House.
Maybe we'll do Wing House. They have great shorts there. John Stockton basketball style shorts there. I like them.
I actually like Wing House, too.
Do you?
I like any view, but I mean, Wing House is pretty good when it comes to the view.
Hey, we could do Penthouse Club because it is radio, so therefore you can't see anything. Now, I'm teasing.
They add me. Oh, got my hopes up. Get out. All right. This has been Hoppe Hour. Thank you, dude. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, saying peace out.
Hoppe Hour. Hoppe Hour.